Hello there, in this video we are going to talk about working with part of a list. Specifically, we are going to discuss two topics. The number one is slicing, very important topic, and secondly, we are going to briefly discuss what copying a list means. So let's begin. So let me scroll a little bit. I have prepared a list to work with. So I have a list that has how many items? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alice, Bob, Charlie, David, Eric, and Fred. So far, we know how to create a list, how to access individual items from the list. So, if you want to access each item, what do? We use indexing. We know the first item has the index of 0, and then we move forward 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Of course, you can also start from the end using negative indexing, but through indexing we only get one item. What if we want several items? That's where slicing comes in. So let's say I wanted items Bob, Charlie, and David instead of just asking for them individually. I can use something called slicing. The good thing about slicing is that if you know how to use range, slicing is very similar. It is extremely similar. So you use the name of the list and square brackets. That's just like indexing. However, here you are actually going to provide two numbers, the starting index and the ending index. So the starting index is 1. So I want Bob, Charlie, and David. Now the interesting part here is that you're going to provide one index more than the last one. You are going to say 4. Now I say it is very similar to range because if you remember from the range function lesson, the last number is not included. So if I just do 3, I won't get the last item. If I want the last item, I will need to add 1 to it. So this will actually give me Bob, Charlie, and David. This is slicing. Now, if you again remember from the range lesson that you have multiple options for using range. You can provide the starting number, you can provide the ending number, or you can provide a step size. It's the same thing with slicing. So let me show you a few more examples of using slicing. So this is the first example. Let me write the names. So I can shorten them instead of writing full names. I'm just gonna type B, C, and D. B, C, and D, Bob, Charlie, and David. Now let's say if I want to get Alice, Bob, and Charlie, one choice is to start from 0 and go to 3. And I will get Alice, Bob, and Charlie. Now, if you want to, if you are going to start from 0, then 0 is actually optional. 0 is actually optional. You can actually write it like this: a colon and 3. They are the same. They are the same. In the same way, if you want to go to the end, if you want to go to the end, for example, let's say we start from David and we go to the end, Fred. We can do D, E, and F. So that's how we can go to the end. The last one, the last thing that we should talk about is the step size. We can provide a step just like range. We can provide a step just like range. So let's say I start from 1 and I go to, let's say, 4, and let's say we have a step size of 2. Let's see what we are going to get now. So we are starting at 1 and we are ending at 3. Why? Because the ending index is 4. and 4 will not be included, so we will reach 3, and the step size is 2, so we are just gonna get Bob and David. Bob and David, so B and D. Now, keeping all of these examples here, I can open up my editor and show it to you. I can open up my editor and show it to you. So let's put my drawing board on the left side and use our console. Use our console. So let's use L for list to make it easier to type. Alice and Bob, Charlie, David, Eric, and finally Fred. Now we have the list. Now let's try the first example, starting from the first index and going to the fourth one, but not including the fourth one. So we are going to see Bob, Charlie, and David. Bob, Charlie, and David. And let's try the second one, 0 to 3. So Alice, Bob, Charlie, 0 to 2. Last one is not included. Now, as I said, if you are going to start from the beginning, 0 is optional. 0 is optional. Same thing. Now let's try the second example. We are starting from 3 and going to the end. So 3 is David, and we will go to the Fred. If you want to go to the end, you could do -1. As you remember, -1 is the last index, but as you said, last index is not included, so this will actually not work. Now we are going from 3 to -1, and as I said, last one will not be included, so it will not give you Fred. If you want to go to the end, that's the way. And finally, we have the step size. Start from 1, go to 4, and make a jump of 2. Bob and David. Now, if you want to start from beginning, go to the end and make jump of 2. That's how you do it. And you will see people writing this in their code, and this looks confusing, right? If you don't know what slicing is, this looks very cryptic, like a secret language. But now you know what slicing is, and it should make sense. Start from beginning, go to the end, and make jumps of 2. I can explain it to you if it's still a bit confusing. I can explain it to you. So let me erase the existing lines. Now we are starting from beginning, we are going to the end, and we are making jumps of 2. Alice, Charlie, and then Eric, Now, because there's nothing after 2 jumps, so we just got Alice, Charlie, and Eric. And the confusing thing is that you can use negative numbers for the step size as well. For example, -1, and it will actually reverse the list. Now, this is one way of reversing the list, and you shouldn't worry too much about it. What it is doing, it is starting from beginning to the end, but it is making a reverse jump because of -1, and you're seeing the reverse list. But as you know from earlier, you can also use the reverse function that will do the same thing. So that's a little bit about slicing. The next thing we need to talk about is copying a list. Now this might sound a little alien to you, this topic, so let me first create my file, copylist.py, and let me open the file, copylist.py. Now let's say I have the same list. Did I close the terminal? Yep, I did close it. So I will need to type it out again. Let's say L equal to Alice, Bob, Charlie, David, Eric, and Fred. Normally, if you want to copy a variable, what you do, you would do this, L2 equal to L. Now, if I append L that append, now, now let's say I add Greg to L, and let's say I add George to L2. But actually what would happen, we are giving two names to the same list. If I run it, if I print L1 and L2, we are gonna see the same result. Technically it's the same list. Now, this might be a little new to talk about pointers, which is a very important topic in programming, so I'm not going to talk about pointers, but the point is the idea is that you didn't copy a list, you just created two names to point to the same list. For example, your name might be something in your home, or your friends might give you a nickname. You are the same person with different names. So this is the same list, but it now has two names, L and L2. When we append it to L, we also append it to L2. I added Greg using L, and I added George using L2. I didn't append to two different lists. I appended to the same list but with different names. So in order to copy it, we actually have a copy method. Now if I run it now L2 actually gets a copy of list, and now L1 and L2 are two different lists. Python copy list.py. L1 gets Greg, L2 gets George. So this is something you should remember whenever you want to copy a list. You use the copy method. If you just do L2 equal to L1, that would never work. And the reason has to do with pointers, or we also call them references. How actually Python manages data under the hood. A very important topic, but not very important right now at our current level. It might melt your brain because it's not the current level to study about it. So I guess this is it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.